Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between, I believe this is Sang Kyonwera and a Terran player, but since I cannot read Korean, not 100% sure who that is, so I will just be referring to them as Protoss versus Terran throughout the rest of this match. This shoutcast is sponsored by LU Computers. Go ahead and check out their website at lucomputers.com. There are StarCraft 2 tested computers on the top right hand side of the homepage. Over here we have this Nexus now continuing to just train up on units. We should probably see a 9 pylon being placed down. Over here we should probably see a 9 supply depot, and we'll be curious to see where the 9 supply depot will be placed. We also may get an early refinery, or is going for that supply depot. There we go, getting that supply depot right there, and that supply depot may block this Vespene geyser, the path of that Vespene geyser, so will need to be lowered, I believe. Back over here we now have this probe moving in, gonna do some early scouting, and both players are gonna pretty much see that there is nothing too out of the ordinary in this game so far. And the Protoss player doing that standard chrono boost may try to throw down a 13 gateway, or is he going to try to go for a 12? Going to go for a 12 gateway, so it's going to be the gateway and not produce any probes for a little bit of time. As soon as there is enough minerals, train a probe and then chrono boost. So back over here, now SCV and a probe duking it out. So who's going to win, Steve or Peppy? Peppy moving away, able to use those shields recharged for his advantage. And you can see that those shields are now going to start to be recharged as Stevie unable to really catch up. And now at 15 hit points, is he going to engage? No, down to 10 hit points again. Wants to try to get as much energy as much shields as possible before re-engaging. And he could really just start to wear away some of these SCVs. SCV now down to 20 hit points, and that SCV has not done any scouting just quite yet. Already we have a barracks now training up a marine and upgrading to an orbital command. So a very standard opening from both of these players. The supply depot was lowered, as I mentioned earlier, as Peppy the Pro, being very, very adventurous, running into a lot of Stevie's friends over there, as now we have another SCV going to go ahead and head up this ramp. The Xelnaga Caverns is just a very interesting map just because of how open it feels. There are a lot of paths to your opponent, but they're all fairly close to each other. Back over here we now see the SCV just wandering around on this inside. It does see that there is the cybernetics core. We'll see if he's going to see a chrono boosted stalker or not, as there is finally a tech lab now coming in. We see the assimilator being placed down by Sang Kyonwera, as that is a really just nasty way to deny Terran gas. The assimilator has 900 hit points between the shields and its base hit point, the structure damage that it can take. So it takes a lot of damage before it can be taken down, compared to the refinery or the extractor that the Zerg and Terran players have. The Stalker going to be finished in just mere moments, as this SCV going to be taken down very easily. The Stalker has a faster movement speed than the SCV, so that SCV going to take 2 shots, and there it goes. Now perhaps going to do a little bit of pressure. A Marauder now joining in on that fight. That Marauder will be able to take down that assimilator much more easily, as it does 20 damage per attack, compared to the Marine's only 6 damage per attack, but the Marine does fire almost twice as fast as the Marauder there. Calling down a mule, should also be throwing down a refinery as well, but already getting 2 barracks just in case there was some sort of warp gate, 2-gate play. Instead, the Protoss player going into a robotics facility after 1 gateway, and now throwing down a Nexus. This is a very gutsy move, especially here on the Xelnaga Caverns, as the Xelnaga Caverns is a very open expansion. You have 2 very wide choke points that you have to try to guard. It's not like unlike Metalopolis, where you at least have your cliff that tries to protect your expansion. This expansion is really far over. Perhaps if the expansion was situated here, it would be a little bit easier to guard, but this is so exposed that it is fairly difficult to try to get a very early expansion and not have it get taken down. Over here, robotics facility may get taken down and as well, and now in comes a lot of these probes to try to deal some of this damage as well. There are 2 pylons powering all of these buildings here, and now another Marine coming in. 1 pylon now down, so that warp gate is no longer functional, and now these Marauders and Marines continue to fight back even further. Will that Stalker get taken down? Yeah, that Stalker will get taken down. 1 Immortal will come out in time, and now Immortal getting that shot off and fighting back. Marines fighting back against all these probes, and these probes are just getting torn apart here. Immortal now chasing down, may be able to get a couple quick shots off. The Marauders able to get off 1 concussive shell. You could probably kite the Immortal a very far distance continually that way, and because that Immortal will constantly be out of range at a range of 5 instead of a range of 6 as the Marauders have. And now 1 Immortal and 1 Stalker able to hold off against this rather large Marine Marauder army, but a lot of probes were taken down. However, it looks as though the Terran player is not training up SCVs, and this is a very one of those things that a Terran player should always be doing, especially in the early game. Only sitting on 22 SCVs and stop training. You really need to keep up your macro. He did throw down a second command center and also getting a factory and a starport, so maybe that is the reason why. I need to stop SCV production for just a moment, and we'll see how this hurts him in the long run. Excuse me. Sitting on, we see the Protoss player now gathering 900 minerals every game minute compared to 880, 900 as well. But the Protoss player only running off of 1 gas, and now this is a very strange strategy, as Stalkers and Immortals both take a lot of gas along with this Observer. Observer takes 100 gas, and that's about as much gas as he gathers in 1 game minute. So that is going to eat into a lot of his forces. He really needs to start throwing down some more assimilators and trying to get a stronger economy as well. We do have 1 probe coming into here, trying to keep track if there is any sort of expansion. And will that probe see the... Yeah, he will see this expansion now being lifted off in a moment. Already upgrading to an orbital command. But we already should see some assimilators now being warped in. Yeah, assimilator there, but no assimilators at the natural gas just quite yet. Perhaps trying to train up more zealots instead. And now going for a zealot immortal army. I believe the cost of an immortal is 250, 100. So, and the training time is 555. So, yeah, that should give him the ability to constantly produce units out of this robotics facility. And now we see more gateways being thrown down. So, that's going to be a 4-gate with the robo facility. Marauders now moving out. They are stimmed, but how much damage can they really take, as there are Marines and Marauders in this drop over here? So this may be a distractionary tactic as a simulator coming over here. So in come these Marauders, going to go after some of these probes over here. Is it going to really work? Now trying to pull away using stim, and now the Protoss player suspecting that there is some sort of scanner sweep coming in, going to deal a lot of damage towards these units here. Stalker's now coming in as well, but Stalker already destroyed. Marines with that stim now needs to focus down this Immortal. Immortal now taken down very easily, and now using that stim move and attack ability very easily, destroying a lot of his own buildings, getting in the way here, as now we have a Guardian Shield picking up those units, and with only 1 sentry, unable to deal any damage towards those medevacs. 1 Stalker now coming back in, Warp Gate now being researched as well, but the losses, taking a look at the losses, 3,000 mineral losses for the Protoss versus 800 for the Terran. So really nicely done, able to make up some of that lost mining time with a very nice distractionary Marine Marauder. I don't believe he even lost any of those units over here. Perhaps he did, but it doesn't matter, as he was able to just deal significant damage. SCV is now going to come over, start repairing this medevac, and these 2 medevacs here. And taking a look at the production, we have the combat shield, engineering bay, another barracks being thrown down. So a very large number of racks now being thrown into play. 5 racks, 1 of them with a reactor. We'll see if this one gets a tech lab or a reactor as well. So just mass Marauder play, as there is this one observer now trying to get underneath that unit there, and now able to take down that observer. So using the scanner sweep to take down an observer, very nice, denying your opponent that observer and that 50 minerals, 100 gas, forcing them to retrain it. Twilight Council now being warped in as well. So this is going to be into a 6-gate opening, but all of this off of 2 bases. Not quite sure if that's going to be quite enough. There are 3 medevacs in the air, and will they be able to see this? Another army, Zealots also moving out, and both of them passing each other. So this is going to be a very difficult fight here. Who's going to attack first? That's really all that's going to matter, as these Immortals and now Stalkers coming in. So this very large army coming in here, going to go ahead and just continue to push the army of the Protoss player too far out to really do anything about it. He's going to lose this expansion, but both sides are going to go into a base race, and the Terran player is going to win if it's a straight base race, since there's only 1 Stalker. Marines and Marauders continuing the fight, able to take down this expansion over here, but now trying to run back home, trying to protect everything that was built over here. Marauders now being trained up over into this position. One medevac as well, going to repair this medevac, try to heal it up. No, not repairing the medevac. I take it back, as these zealots need to continue to fight, but there are the medevacs continuing to come in and rejoin in on this fight. Is it going to really work out with the command center now being lifted up, but not quite sure why? There is one stalker, but now more zealots, more units being trained in over here. In comes a guardian shield, trying to drop in more units. SCVs need to join in on this fight as well to try to draw in some of that aggro, and Marines and Marauders, a great job just running back home and being able to re-engage on this fight. There is this orbital command, should be coming back in just a moment, needs to repair this factory. But how many SCVs were taken down? Only 2 SCVs left for the Terran player. That is a very, very hard hit as well. Needs to use these mules very, very quickly. Try to resaturate this mineral line. Repair this factory, please. No, not repairing the factory, and that factory will get burnt to a crisp. Losing that starport as well. So the Terran player now very, very far behind will be very far behind if this factory goes down. If the factory goes down, he will be far behind in terms of the whole entire economy game. Army-wise, he does have a stronger army, but he's going to have a very difficult time trying to reestablish his dominance. And as he lost so many SCVs in that fight, there are medevacs in the air, and those medevacs cannot be taken. If they get taken down, that's going to be very, very bad news. Marauders now coming in, and as well, there's one observer sitting over here as these Marauders try to come up, and really nicely done. One sentry in position, trying to hold off this whole entire line there, doing a great job. And now these Marauders are just firing uphill against these Zealots. Zealots just getting torn apart by these Marines and these Marauders, taking those Punisher grenades. Another force field coming in, so just trying to do some sort of delay tactic. There are Marines in position, there are medevacs, so those medevacs are able to see up onto that high ground and perhaps deal some damage towards some of these pylons, towards some of these buildings as well. And now going to start doing an elevator drop. Yeah, it looks like an elevator drop, but bad timing on that elevator drop, losing a lot of those critical key units. And now this whole entire army of the Terran player going to get destroyed. And here, medevacs are picking up units, trying to drop them down, trying to split them up, but a great job trying to warp in more and more units back and forth, army-wide, both sides dishing out the damage. Who's going to really win out here as more reinforcements coming in? Medevacs have been taken down. Marauders just using stim, and now as one sentry just doing a great job trying to hold off this whole entire fight. Another stalker going to get taken down. No, able to escape as Zealots once again re-engage. More Marauders joining in over here. So a very, very small army fight now. 825 versus 850. Zealots with Zealot charge, however, will be able to close up on that distance very easily once that Zealot charge has been reinitiated. No, Marauders deciding to stim instead to get away. Zealots do have faster movement speed, 2.75 instead of 2.25, but will they get close enough to engage their Zealot charge? That is the question. Marauders still pulling away. Zealots closing up that distance. Stalker trying to chase. Will it be enough? Zealots now going to go ahead and engage, and now Marines and Marauders coming in as well. This is a little bit too far. The Protoss player overextending himself as these Marines are now able to reinforce as well. Taking a look at the harvester count, 15 for the Terran player, 39 for the Protoss player, as this Nexus being set up at the 6 o'clock expansion. Zealots continuing to fight, now jumping into the bunkers, so very nicely done, saving 2 of those low hit point units by running them into the bunker. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between a Protoss and a Terran Korean player here on the Xelnaga Caverns.